Hello beautiful souls and hello divine feminines. Welcome back to this other video. So today we're going to talk about a timeline. So they've guided me to talk about the different types of traits that we've been taking down from these different lives that we've had. I'm going to be using 3 decks of the cards, so the numerology, the past life by Doreen, and angel therapy. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each of the past lives that where we still, it's like this is how we rose this lifetime, right? So we went through all different types of lives where we had disempowerment, where we weren't good enough, where things were happening and nothing was working out. And now in this day and age, at least, we're all starting to rise up. And they're just trying to let you know that if you aren't feeling completely in that rising mode, which we all are energetically, then it could be because you're still holding on to some past life sort of ingrained beliefs on you. So I'm going through this to give you guys a peace of mind, and then I'm going to guide you guys on what some of the angels would want to give you some further advice. So for fun, some of us, we were writers. I felt like a lot of us did, express ourselves through journals. I felt like a lot of us were very creative, were very, we did a lot for the family. We wrote things down. We made sure that we were, I kept seeing a diary. I felt like a lot of us kept this diary. A lot of us were always writing our feelings on, and I feel like because of this little, this thing that we used to do back in our past lives was something that we should still incorporate in this lifetime in terms of writing our feelings down, keeping a journal. I kept seeing a journal being locked up. I felt like that's how it was back then. You weren't allowed to sort of, or it's not that you weren't allowed, but we didn't want other people to see what we wrote. We always wrote down what we felt, and we hid that. And that's something that as a phenomenon, that's what we do, is like we hide things through our journal, right? That's the answer. And I feel like that's why in this lifetime we may get a bit like, oh, don't read my journal, because back then no one was allowed to, and we still sort of implement that sort of, oh, like what if someone finds out how I feel? And I feel like that can really relate to a lot of us, right? A lot of us can relate to that scarcity. If someone finds our journal, we could get killed, or if someone finds our journal, we can get slaughtered, or something can happen to us. And that's something that I think what we still ingrain when we do journals is that a lot of us are actually scared to do a journal because they're scared that they're going to find out or be killed. Because that's what it was like. That's what it was like back then. If someone found your journal and you wrote something that was really out there, or wrote something super personal, then you would get killed or something would happen to you. And they're saying that try and overcome that fear. So that's why it's important that we overcome that fear. We overcome something that's blocking us, because writing in this day and age, if someone found your journal, you're not going to get hurt from it. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what you write, as long as we write our feelings, as long as we allow ourselves to move through that fear, because it's only just fear and it's only ingrained through our soul. Authority figures for the next one. A lot of us, I hear justice. A lot of us were, we didn't have a say. We couldn't do what we want. The masculines always were in control. We didn't have a voice. We couldn't do what we wanted. We were always trapped at home. We were always kind of scared. I'm just feeling scared as a feminine. Back in the day, the women were not allowed to say a word. The masculines were always in control. And a lot of us these days still think that that's how it rolls in their soul, because they're scared to speak their truth. They're scared to put themselves out there, because they're scared they're going to get in trouble from authority, right? They're scared they're going to get in trouble by the law. But they're saying that you need to move through that, because it's only a fear. This day and age, everyone's allowed to speak their truth. You hear so many feminists and feminists out there speaking their truth, not giving a crap, and no one's telling them off, because this day and age everyone's quite equal. And they're saying that that's only a fear that's consumed in your soul, so do not feed into that, because it's not like that anymore. It's only a fear. So speaking your truth. Medicine man and woman. I feel like a lot of us have been so powerful and so ingrained with so much knowledge and wisdom, and I feel like a lot of us are always seeking for other people's approval. A lot of us are always like putting ourselves out there, like, oh, like, is this right, is this wrong, I don't know, I don't have an intuition, I don't really know what I know. And they're saying that a lot of you women, like, I feel like all of us at some point in time have all been empowered, have all been very strong shamans or really strong, you know, wise women, because we helped other people through our journey. And if you're a twin flame, you've all experienced this type of advanced, you know, this advanced sort of role. And I feel like a lot of us are always relying on other people because we don't trust our own intuition. But they're saying that you've got the answers all within your side. You've got all this knowledge that you don't even realize, you haven't even tapped into yet, because you're still scared of, you know, for one, maybe speaking the truth, actually trusting yourself. Maybe in the past you listened to your intuition, or you became that wise woman and then you got shot, or something bad happened if you actually opened up to the gifts. And they're saying that that's in the past now. It's time to move forward. It's time to bring in the actual wisdom through that lifetime or through those lifetimes, and you can actually live your life based on living on your intuition, right? You don't have to seek for approval of others. Next one is wisdom. Yeah, we're all very wise women. We all had so much wisdom that we didn't even know we did. I feel like this day and age, as I said, we're all reliant on other people, but I'm feeling a feeling. I feel that we don't trust the wisdom that we feel, because we think, oh, that's fear. And, you know, it comes down to when we were wise, when we did have a lot of wisdom, when we were very powerful, we got killed from that. We were a threat to other people, to the masculines, to maybe the dark side. We were a threat so much to other people when we hold this wisdom. So that's why when we sort of come in this life, we don't want to open up to that potential, because we think, no, I'm going to get in trouble again, or no, you know, I'm going to get killed, something's going to happen to me. And they're saying that you need to move through that fear, because it's only holding you back for living your full potential. And, you know, we were all really powerful beings at one point in time, and we just need to embrace that person that we were, and know that you're not going to get, you know, you're not going to get a consequence for being powerful this day, especially in this day and age. Everyone's talking each other up to be powerful, especially the women sort of, you know, community. And this day and age, they're just saying that move through the fear, because you've got the wisdom within. Food and hunger. So one of our lifetimes, we could have been quite, servant-like, right? We were very poverty at some point. I feel like some of us are still ingrained of that sort of, you know, struggle mentality, where we think that we don't deserve things, or whether, you know, we don't deserve food, or, you know, or we're like, oh, it's so hard to get food, it's so hard to do this. And it's because we're still in that mentality of maybe when we were servants, and when things were hard, we feel like that we don't deserve it because we worked for kings and queens and princesses, and sometimes we feel like we don't deserve the luxury of having money, or having a nice house, or having, you know, a car or a husband, because we still are in that mental, you know, into that servant mentality. And they're saying that that is totally in the past now. You have the things that you want, it's just the mind that's blocking you that. Yeah, it's because we're putting out negative vibes, like, I don't deserve this, whether consciously or not. Your soul is still saying, maybe I don't deserve to have that much money, because, you know, obviously was a servant in some point in time. And they're saying that you need to move through that so you can have the abundance that you want, so you can have everything that you want. But you just need to really trust that, or I suppose move through that sort of struggle mentality, thinking you don't deserve it, because it's in the past now. Things are totally different. You know, you don't see a lot of servants, or there's a lot of poverty, of course, but, you know, it was so many servants around back in the day. You know, it was quite it was the norm, you know. And this day and age, it's not. So we need to move through that hunger. We need to move through that, you know, that lack mentality. And the last one is orphan. So a lot of us has been brought up feeling isolated, feeling alone, a lot of abandonment issues, a lot of fears, abuse. You know, a lot of us have been on our own in a previous lifetimes, and that's what's being manifested in this lifetimes to overcome that. They're letting you know that if you're abandoned now, even if you feel like you're in that mentality, a lot of the time it's not from actually this life, it's actually from that lifetime where you're moving through that abandonment issues. At some point in time, if you feel abandoned now, if you feel like you're being abused this lifetime, a lot of the time it's because it's happened in a past life and you need to learn something from that. Not saying it's right, definitely not saying it's right, but it's definitely a life lesson. And they're saying that once you actually go back into life, or if you see a past life reader, if you want to talk to me, I'm a past life reader, or even just talk to understand to your soul and understand that, hey, maybe it was because I felt neglected in a past life. And once you start healing from that, you'll notice that this lifetime things get a bit better. You feel like you have a voice, yeah? You start to be able to write down your feelings and not get scared. And you start to find the wisdom within and get out of this lack mentality. Do you notice how we all actually embody a lot of these? Because a lot of our lives, we have to go through good and bad times in order to be here today and have that decision whether you want to keep being the lack or want to keep being the good. And because we're rising so much as divine feminines, we can have anything we want. We can have abundant, we can be poor, but then manifest things and be rich. That's how the world works these days. Back in the day, maybe not so much. No one was sitting there manifesting, but people were going through good and bad times. So then in this day and age, we could actually have what we want, whether we're good or we're bad. And they're saying that some things that you might be ingrained. Everything I'm saying to you right now might sound a bit like, wow, she knows what she's talking about, or wow, that resonates with me. And it's because we've taken on so many different roles in our lives that we come to this place where we're holding on to all maybe the negative sides and not seeing actually the positive sides. And the only time we see the positive sides is if we have an understanding of why it happened. And a lot of the time it is the past lives, girls. I've got to be honest with you, that's what it is. So hopefully that really made sense with why you might feel like you're not rising as high as you want to. Know that a lot of the time it's not from this lifetime, it's from a past life, and you're paying off a debt that you did in the past life. So if you wanted to get a past life reading, please go to me. Please go to me and we can organize and schedule it in and understand what the karmic lessons are. So how can we move through this? Yeah, gee. So I'm going to say how we're going to move through this, and then I'm going to wrap this up. Really like doing this. I'm very passionate about past lives. It's like obviously my main job. I love it so much. So it means a lot when I get to share something like this with you girls, so you guys can have understanding why maybe you don't have a voice, or maybe you're like sort of struggling with money, is because our soul is still holding on to those past lives of that karma, right? So from now on, to overcome this, guys, wow, wow, this is crazy. We have to let go of the fear. The fear is what's letting us back. It's allowing us, it's the one thing that's making us not be able to surrender, right? Surrender with fear. We need to let that go, girls. We need to know if we want to rise, we need to let go of fear. We need to let go of things that don't serve us. We need to let go of all these things I've just said, all these fear-based things that I've just gone through. They're fear, right? Because we experienced that in our life, and it was shit, and it was hard on our soul. It was heavy, it was a burden. And we've come into this life with this big backpack of karma, and knowing it's all fear a lot of the time, yeah? It's not this positive experience. It's all this, yucky, like, ugh, I'm scared to do that, I'm scared to do that, I'm scared to do that. Oh, money scares me, or this scares me. It's because we're holding on to the fear. And once we actually remove the fear, we can surrender to the universe. We can allow things to unfold for us. But it won't happen unless we unpack the zip, we unlock the zip, and we actually look inside and say, okay, where's my fear coming from? Is it coming from being a servant? Is it coming from being scared to voice my truth? Is it becoming when I was an orphan and when I was in abandonment? Or was it when I was a wise woman and I got shot for that? We need to ask ourselves, where is this coming from? Where is the fear coming from? Why am I in fear in life? What areas in my life am I fearful? Because then when we start unraveling and when we start vacuuming the fear, we can surrender to the divine plan that we've set out for each other. Remember, girls, we're free will. We can change our life, a contract, if we really want to. A lot of the time it's quite, you always end up being on the same sort of path. But at the end of the day, we're free will. We can make one decision. It can change our whole lives. And we feel like we have to, live a karmic lesson and sort of be in sort of a bad sort of situation our whole lives. If we feel like we, have to be in that the whole lives, then we can actually change that. Like, we can actually say one thing and then we can clear the karma and then move on to a new journey, right? So that's why it's important that we remove the fear, remove the karma, and actually surrender to the process. Another one, which is so crazy, forgiveness, and be willing to forgive. This really gives me the sign that we need to forgive ourselves, because a lot of the time it's not, we only come back down here, it's because we don't forgive ourselves for what happened, whether the good and the bad. They're saying that forgiveness is just so important. You have to forgive in order for you to grow. If we're not forgiving ourselves, we're holding on to that energy. We're cramped up. We may be turning to satisfactions for pleasures, right? Like, for example, we might turn to food, we might turn to sex, we might turn to drugs. Stuff like that is what we turn to when things get hard, when our soul isn't growing, or when our soul is scared and in fear, right? And remember, this is all related to these past life, timelines that I've just gone through. And know that right now, if you want to rise, if you want to get out of those fear-based mentalities, you need to forgive yourself for starters. And then you need to forgive everyone else that may be in that life with you. And then through all this, guys, new beginnings comes, manifestation comes. Very, very powerful cards. Very, very powerful. Once we start forgiving and letting go of the fear, we can actually step into a new beginning. We're stepping into a new manifestation tool. Just know that this decision that you decide to do is get out of this lack mentality or struggle. You're actually going to manifest what you want, and then you're going to be like living a good life. Obviously we go through struggles, but you're going to be getting out of that yucky past life sort of backpack trauma. Like, we're letting that go and we're stepping into a new beginning. So girls, I really hope you enjoyed this. One more. Abundance. Oh my God. They've just said lastly, abundance. So once we move through all this, abundance comes. Exactly what I was just saying, manifestation. So girls, I really hope this cleared this up with you girls. I get it. Sometimes life is hard. We feel like we can't rise. We feel like we can't speak. But know that it's not from this lifetime. We're only taking on other things from other lifetimes. And if you feel like you resonated with one of those things and you want some help on it, reach out to me. I'm a past life reader. I've had really good results with all the women. And it's just come so far with all my readings and helping you understand what the karma is and what you can do in order to overcome that. So if you guys need anything else, please look at all my programs and services on the bottom. Other than that, I'll see you guys all Sunday for the weekly video. Namaste.